Hey Algebra 1, Mr. Osborne doing your Unit 8 test review. Okay, so just remember this is about quadratic functions. And to get started, the first page you've got two problems. Now, the thing is, the two problems are the same problem. So you see this 3x squared plus 7x plus 5 equals 11. You're going to do the same problem twice, but you're going to do two different ways. Okay, because we want you to show us that you know how to do it both ways. Okay, so let's get started. So first thing is we need to solve by factoring. Factoring means that we're either going to do GCF, okay, or we might be doing the box. Okay, if you're in a different class, you're probably doing the X and then the box after that, something like that. All right, so that's what we're talking about when we talk about factoring. Now, first step with this is going to be a box, all right? But the thing is, no matter whether we're doing GCF or the box, this all needs to be equal to 0. So we need to change up this equation a little bit. So first thing is, I need this 11 to be on that side. Now you can either subtract 11 from both sides or do what I do, literally just move the 11 over here, and any number you move to the other side of the equal sign just becomes its opposite sign. So if it's positive 11 here, it's going to become negative 11 on the other side. So let's rewrite that. 3x plus 7x. Okay, now we still have plus 5. But this is positive, so now it will be minus 11. Okay, now before we move further, we need to simplify. So right here, 5 minus 11, that's going to be negative 6. So let's write it out. So 3x plus 7x minus 6 equals 0. Okay, now we're ready to go. Now we can factor this and do our steps. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is I'm going to set up my box. And remember that your first term goes in the first box. Your last term goes in the last box. Okay? And remember, you're going to take these two terms, multiply them times each other, and that number goes here. So 3 times negative 6, negative 18, times x squared. Now again, what you're looking for is two numbers that if I multiply those two numbers, that they'll equal negative 18x squared. But when you add the two numbers, or subtract them, that they will give you this middle number, 7x. So you're always looking to see if they'll add up or subtract to the middle number. Okay, so the way I do this to figure it out is I just list them out. I start with 1. 1 times what equals 18? Okay, well just 18, we know that. Okay, and one of them have to be negative. 2 times 9. Okay, and don't forget these have to have x on them. So x, 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 x. Okay, and then another one would be 3. So you see how I'm going 1, 2, 3? We're making a list. 3 times 3x times 6x. All right, so let's stop there and see if one of these combinations work. Okay, so remember, it needs to equal negative 18, okay, but it has to add up or subtract to positive 7. Can I add or subtract 18 to get 7? No, it doesn't work. Can I add or subtract 9 and 2 to get 7? Yeah, I could, because 9 minus 2 equals 7. Question is, I'll have to make one of them negative. Which one? Well, 7 is positive, so that means your bigger term has to be negative. I'm sorry, it has to be positive. Whatever this is, the bigger number, if this is positive, the bigger number has to be positive, okay? That makes this one negative, all right? And 3, 6 wouldn't work anyway, so 6 minus 3 is 3, 6 plus 3 is 9, it doesn't give us 7. All right, so we're gonna put those two terms here, and positive 9x, negative 2 and 9x. Now, we have to put two numbers here first, okay? Two numbers that multiply to 3x squared. Okay, I know that I'm going to have to multiply 3x times x to get that number. Okay? Question is, where does that 3 go? All right? Well, to figure that out, well, I look at two of these numbers in a column or a row. Okay, if I want to know what goes here, I say, well, what's the GCF or the common factor between these two numbers? Okay, well, there's no number other than 1 that I can divide into 3 and 2. But they do both share an x, so that means x goes here. Okay, and then the common factor between 3 and 9 is 3. The greatest common factor, the biggest number you can divide. And then they both share an x. So that's where the x went. So you really don't even need to know that. All you have to do is find the GCF between these numbers in a row and the numbers in the column. Now, x times what number will give us negative 2x? Negative 2. 3x times what number gives us 9x? That's 3. Okay, and there's our factors. So now we need to write that out. We're still not done yet. Okay, so now I'm going to take my 3x minus 2 and my x and positive 3, which gives us x plus 3, and that's all equal to 0, just like it was here before. Okay? So now, from here, I'm going to get my answer. Okay, so now, remember, if I covered up that 3, I'm looking for a number that if I plugged it into x in this parenthesis, that it would equal 0. So, in other words, what number minus 2 is going to give us 0? 2. Okay? But then I have to also include this 3 here. I can't just neglect the 3. So if I have a number here, it's going to be that 2 over whatever's in front. So the shortcut here is if that's minus, this is going to be positive. The second number goes on top of your numerator. This first number goes on the bottom of the denominator. Okay, that's your first solution here, your first root, x-intercept. Okay, then what number plus 3 equals 0? Okay, not 3, because 3 plus 3 is 6. So it's negative 3. There's your answer. Now we're done. Okay, now we're going to solve the same problem again, but now using the quadratic formula. Okay, so now, first thing we need to do, let's write down the problem, right? So, because it's from above. Okay, and actually I'm going to write that over here on the left side. Okay, so I got 3x squared, okay, plus 7x, plus 5, equals 11. Okay, I don't actually need to rewrite the original problem. I'm going to rewrite it the way after we changed it. So remember, move the 11, you still need for it to equal 0. 3x plus 7, and I'm going to go ahead and subtract. So 5 minus 11, 6 equals 0. Okay? So we're going to use that right there. So you gotta make it equal 0 first before you start. All right. So now, before we actually do any work, let's write out the formula so we know where we're going. Okay, so x, because that's the answer we're looking for, is equal to negative 1 times b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Okay? So we're going to use that formula to plug this in. And by the way, if you remember this formula, after number 2 in this test, if all you do is remember this formula, you can solve every single problem in the whole entire test. Okay? All you have to do is remember the formula. Okay? So, first thing we need to know is all these different letters here. A, B, and C. So let's figure those out. So looking here, A comes from the first coefficient, the first number. So it's 3. Okay, then the B is our second number, 7. The C is our third number, negative 6. Okay, so we're going to take these 3 numbers and we're going to plug them right into the equation. Okay, so let's write it out. So negative 1, I'm just going to leave it open here, and then we'll fill it in. Squared, and anytime I plug something in, I always write parentheses. Okay, remember to do that. Plugging something in here, A and C, and all over 2 times our A. Okay, so now, first thing is B. We need to plug in B. B is 7. So 7 goes there, and there. The second thing that comes up is A, and A goes here and here. And our A is 3. So I'm going to put the 3 here, and here. And then the last one is C, and C is -6. And make sure, don't forget that if there's a negative there, that'll mess you up, and then you'll punch this in the calculator and get errors because it thinks that everything inside the square root is negative, and you can't have that. Okay, so make sure you're not forgetting these negatives in here. All right. Now, if I've showed you how to use the calculator at this point, punch it all in. Go get your yellow graphing calculator, punch it all in, and you're good to go. If you don't, then we'll just work it out by hand. Okay, so let's go ahead and simplify it. -1 times 7, we're going to do step by step, plus and minus. Remember, plus and minus, that means I'm going to have two solutions, or possibly have two solutions, you won't always. 7 squared is 49, remember squared, 7 times 7. Okay, minus 4 times 3. Now this part maybe you want to do in the calculator, or not, it doesn't matter. 4 times 3, -12. Okay, so -12 times -6. Oops, sorry. We'll leave the negative there. Okay, so we'll do 4 times 3 is 12. We'll leave the negative there. Okay, then we'll include the negative later. Okay, all right. So now, excuse me. Let's actually write it this way. We'll do -4 times 3 is -12, and we'll leave it like that. Okay, got me? All right. Now we need to figure out what is 12 times 6. Let's see. 12 times 6 is 72, but it's a negative times a negative, so make sure it's a positive. Okay, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and change it. It's positive 72. Kind of skip ahead there. All over 2 times 3, which is 6. Okay, so let's move over to this side. We're going to move our steps up here. Okay, so now let's simplify what's in the inside of the square root. Okay, 49 plus 72, 121, all over 6. Okay, so now -7 plus and minus. What I want to do here is take the square root of 121. Boop, boop. Calculator, it's 11. If you don't know how to punch that in a calculator, Google it and figure out how to do it, because you can actually use your computer as a calculator for square roots. Okay, or just come in and ask. All right, all over 6. So now here's the key thing, plus and minus. Because it's plus and minus, that means I have to figure this solution out 2 different ways. The first time, I need to add 11, and the second time I need to subtract 11. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it up. The first one will be -7 plus 11 over 6. The second one will be -7, the same one, but minus 11 over 6. Okay, so we'll do step by step. -7 plus 11. Okay, that's going to be 4 over 6. And then -7 minus 11 is -18 over 6. Now, at this point, you need to simplify these two solutions. Because remember, if you go back up to the first one, okay, we didn't get these numbers, right? We got 2 over 3, and we got -3. So these should match up with that, and they don't right now. But if you're thinking, wait a minute, but if I divide -18 over 6, that's -3. That's the same answer. So it's actually equal. It's just these aren't reduced. They're not simplified to fractions, so we need to do that. And then to get this to be 2 over 3, well, I basically have to find the common factor between 4 and 6, the greatest, and divide that. So the biggest number I can divide is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And there is our answer.